Hi everyone, good morning.
Hey guys, good morning. Good morning, Niket.
Hi Vijay.
Hey, shall we start at 8:05 like last time?
Sure, no problem.
Yeah.
Others, if you have friends in this batch, just ping them that the session is starting. They might be sleeping since it's a Sunday morning.
Yes. Yeah. Hey Niket, can we start now?
Sure,
Yeah, I think the folks can keep joining in. Yeah.
great, great. Okay, hi everyone. Good morning. This is Niket Vyas. So agenda for today's session would be to take you through a hiring challenge that is being shared with you. Okay, so how should we attempt this challenge? How much time should we give? What are the best practices? What if we are not able to, attempt such problem because we do not have, the necessary skills or the theoretical knowledge? What can be done? Given the limited amount of time that we have. Okay, so I'm going to share all that with you. My personal experience. And tips that maybe you guys can benefit from. And also, I would want you guys to also respond. So let's say when you look at the problem statement, what what is the first thing that comes to your mind? If is there any sort of mental block that comes uh, in your mind when you look at such problem statements, and how would you go about to approach it? So I want this session to be a bit interactive, so that if you guys share your experience with me or your thought process with me, I can maybe guide you or help you think in the correct direction. Okay, is this much understood? Then we can start with the presentation. Can you just quickly use the chat box to give me a yes on this, so that I know who all are still active in this session? Okay, Karthik is active. Abhineet is active. Uh, Great, at least 5 people are active. I'm assuming others aren't. Okay, great, 6 people, seven. Okay, Siri also joined in. Okay, so let me uh, begin this session now.
Sorry, I missed your question. Can you please repeat your question?
I was just asking if you guys, uh, I mean, I had just briefly introduced myself and shared about the agenda for the day. So just asking everyone to comment yes if they're still active. Otherwise, people would have logged in and slept.
Okay, active on this meeting.
Yes, yes. That's
Okay, fine.
okay. Okay, so quick introduction. Who am I? I'm Niket Vyas. I'm currently working as an analytics consultant in Vijay Toy. This designation could be a bit uh, open, but the work that I kind of do is more of a data scientist uh, role. So basically, what I do is I, get the business, understand the business problem, whatever my clients have, translate it into a tech problem, try to solve it using whatever statistical tools and techniques that I know along with my team. And then we try to actually solve the business problem by translating whatever complex work that we have done that into layman's terms, so that the business guys are actually going to benefit from that. And these are some of the projects that I've recently worked upon. From what I see, I think uh, most of you must have already been uh, uh, aware about me since we met in the last session. Vijay, just to cross check, is this the same batch that we met last time for the hiring session? Can you guys also let me know? Like, have we met before? Okay, great. So this particular session, the next 1.5 hours that we are going to spend, we are going to look at an actual hiring challenge. Okay. So now let's start off with, what is the problem statement? So just a quick check. Do you guys have this problem statement with you? Do you have the files? You can just unmute and speak. It's totally fine.
So Niket, I had shared with every one of them the same folder.
Okay, great. So I just want the learners to confirm. Have you guys opened this problem statement? Did you get access to this? What am I
So,
doing?
Nikhil, would you like me to share the folder link here as well on the chat so that
Yeah, sure. Vijay, that would be helpful
Yes.
because parallelly, if people are able to open, the problem statement.
yes, guys, I'm just sharing the.
Okay, so
Here's the link. I've shared it.
great. So if you guys, visit that link, so in that folder, there'll be couple of files. There'll be a Python script that is provided with you, which will basically be the template. Uh, and there will be a data set that will be provided to you. I believe it is a CSV file. And we'll see, what this task is about. Okay. So first thing, how I proceed by doing thing is let us read, let us see if they have shared any document with us regarding the problem statement. So is this something what you guys are able to access? Do you have this particular file, task description.pdf? If
Yeah.
you have, oh great, perfect. Okay, so let's just see, what this hiring challenge is about, whatever the organization has shared with us. So as we can see, they are saying, okay, we have given a data set containing historical data of medical insurance cost and a number of features that those costs depends upon. Okay, so brief idea about the data set. Then they have shared a Python file which name surname solution.py. So you will have to add your name surname underscore solution.py at the time of submission. This is what I understand. Okay, so that's the exact same thing that they mentioned. Then what are they asking us to do is implement or fill appropriate functions and methods in this file. Okay, so can I assume that you guys are aware of methods and functions? Can someone quickly let me know what is a function? Anyone? You can unmute and say.
Yeah, we are familiar.
Great, great. And what about methods?
Methods and functions both. Function is just one of the way of method, but it returns the argument sometimes. Method does the job.
Great. Perfect. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to, create these function or at least fill in, some code of these functions and methods. And there are some tasks defined for us, task 1, 2, up to task 7 in Docstrings. Okay. Now, this is what I understand. Okay. What is the first task I have to do? I have to, write some code. And though that code is going to be functions and methods. Then what are they asking us? Only allowed to use NumPy and Pandas libraries in implementation. So now this is a big restriction. Okay, because uh, most of you guys must have, just use NumPy and Pandas to load data, do some sort of arithmetic operations, but implementing the whole thing, whatever they have asked for, only using NumPy Panda, this is going to be a bit tricky. Okay, and then there is a file library used in the code to handle CLI. And it is okay. We can park that aside. Okay, so now let us see, what are the other things that they've shared. So they mentioned that they have shared the data set with us. So I was able to open this data set in Excel itself, given that the format of this file was a comma separated value file, and the data set was pretty small. So it was easy for me to load it up in my Excel. If not, then maybe you'll have to open it only using Python. Okay, so what do we look at? So they mentioned, let us quickly uh, switch to this. So what are they saying is, first part, medical insurance costs and number of features that those costs depend upon. Okay, so this charges column tells me about the cost, Okay, and these charges are dependent upon these other features that we have. So things like age, sex, BMI, children, smoker, and region. Okay, so this pretty much makes sense to me. I do not require much of domain knowledge because let's say if obviously if there are some medical costs attached to something, these factors probably would uh, affect that, because maybe in your region hospital charges more, maybe in remote locations hospital charges will be less. So region comes in the picture, whether a person is smoker or no, obviously health conditions uh, will be impacted because of that. If you have any dependents, also children is a factor that is usual. BMI gives a good score about your current health status, your gender affects, and your age also. So data set wise, okay, so I know the first thing that I'm going to do is I know that domain understanding wise, I'm not going to spend any time. Okay, so this is my first checklist. Then let us see what have they shared with us. Then there is a Python file name surname solution underscore py. Let me open that file. Okay, so this is that file name surname underscore solution py. So okay, guys, what I see from here is okay, there are some functions given. Okay, function one, function two, function. There is a class. Within the class, there are some methods and functions. Okay, so within those, functions that are mentioned, they mentioned some task also, like they had mentioned in the uh, description sheet. So what I observe here is there is something 6A and 6B. So there is a major task here, 6, and then within 6, there is 6A and 6B. So maybe they had mentioned total 7 tasks, but in reality, I might have to do 8. Okay, and then there is a main function call, and here already they have defined the calls to those functions. Okay, so I cannot change these things. Only things that I can change or modify is the code within those functions. So the template of how the script has to be run is defined for us. We do not have to uh, change any of that. Okay, only the coding aspect and the logical thinking or brainstorming session is left to us. Okay, so let us quickly see, is there anything else apart from this? No, that's it. Okay, so at least now we have fair idea of what is shared with us. What do we have to do? Now let us quickly jump to any additional info that is shared with us. So we saw the data set. Okay, we saw the template Python file that is shared with us. We know the criteria. We are only allowed to use pandas and numpy. Okay, and other thing that is shared with us is we have 48 hours to submit. So now this is the most important factor according to me, because now I'll be able to time my task, uh, do some bit of research or revise some of my theoretical knowledge so that I'm able to crack this hiring challenge. Okay, so I have 48 hours. Now this is adequate time for me, to have a go at this problem. So before you guys start reading these, what are the tasks and all, I will tell you the approach that I follow. So first thing that I do is I start listing my tasks. Okay, how am I going to spend my time? So usually what I do is uh, when I looked at the problem statement, I mean this particular file, I just thought that maybe it will take me 1.5 hour to solve this. I did not see that we have 48 hours. So first, just depending on my intuition, my experience that I have, I thought, okay, maybe I need 1.5 hour. So now let's split my task accordingly. So then what I did is I opened the Python template that was shared with me. Okay, and I was looking at the data set, what is available with me and the problem statement. So first thing that I did is I dedicated some time just to understand the problem statement and do some EDA if required. So EDA is short term abbreviation for exploratory data analysis. just for me to understand, what the data set looks like. Are there any missing values? Do I have to, do some sort of transformations on the data set? In the problem statement, is there any domain understanding required? Would I have to spend time on that? Yes, no, some decisions just that I take, before I start coding, what will I be able to solve this problem in this given time? How much knowledge I have. I start listing that. Okay. So you guys should also, before, you start opening the notebook, try to start code, give some time to understand the problem statement, have a good look at the data, you know, see whatever criteria these guys have shared with us, so that we can plan the remaining steps very efficiently. Okay, we can optimize, how are we going to solve the problem in a very efficient way. So for me, I had timed it, in 1.5 hours or so, that I'm going to try to solve it in next 1 hour or 1.5 hours. So accordingly, I plan my task so that I'm able to complete things in time and revise and then submit also. Okay, so since we have 48 hours, this number 10 that I mentioned, I had mentioned it as minutes, but you guys can definitely, change this to, maybe hours, and maybe include more steps, as we proceed, what has to be done, where is the skill gap or knowledge gap. Okay, and you can also, start creating this sort of list. Okay, so coming back to the slide. So now what they're asking us is, so what are the kind of tasks? You have to encode categorical variables. So can someone, I mean, I believe some sir was already speaking before this. He had helped me with functions and methods. I want somebody else to tell me what do we mean by the first task, encoding categorical variables. Is there anybody who is not aware of this? What do we mean by this? I want to know who guys are not aware. Encoding categorical variable. Please use the chat box. Okay, guys who are aware of this encoding categorical variable, can you please type yes? Okay. So Abhineet, can you tell us, what do you mean by this encoding categorical variable?
Yeah, yes. What the categorical values, like when we have a couple of categories are directly to integer values like
So
0, 1, 2, 3.
in this case, can you tell me which are my categorical variables? This is the data set that is provided to me.
Yeah,
6 is a categorical
here
variable.
Abhineet,
yeah,
sorry Abhineet, I did not get
the
you.
male female categorical,
Yeah,
as well as the region can be categorical,
and anything else?
and yes, smoker,
Smoker.
0
Okay.
or 1 it will be. Yeah,
Okay. So at least, so now you're saying, okay, I have these categorical variables. Then what you're saying, you want to convert it into an integer value.
yeah, yes.
Anybody else who wants to add on top to what Abhineet said?
Yes, Sushant here.
Yes,
Actually,
Sushant.
yeah, encoding is just to convert categoricals to numericals. Okay,
Mhm.
because our machine learning cannot train on categorical string values. It has to be numerical. So we create some dummy columns for each one of the categories.
Okay, so what Sushant is saying, can I understand that maybe, let's say, let's pick up this smoker column. So maybe if I want to convert it into, let's say, dummy column, so maybe I can have smoker underscore yes, and I can have smoker underscore no. That's right, Sushant. And here maybe I can have, for yes, it would be 0. Maybe in this case, it would be 1. And
Yes,
for
yes,
this would be 1. And here it would be 0. Right?
yes.
Okay, so at least concept wise, this first task is pretty much clear to us. So why am I emphasizing on this is because if the task is provided to us, first thing you have to understand is, do I understand this entirely? Okay, why are they asking us to do? Now, second question that I would ask you is, Okay, you understood the theoretical aspect. Now you have to understand some additional, application of this particular task. Why do we do this encoding? So I recall that you had mentioned that a machine learning model cannot use categorical variable. So that statement is not 100% correct. Depends on what model we use. Okay, but since they're asking us to do this, it will give you a fair sense, what kind of model we would be using. Okay, so that is the first intuition that I would take. Since they're asking us to do this encoding activity, then I know, okay, maybe I'm going towards, and by looking at the data set, maybe I'm trying to, solve a regression problem. Okay, so this is the first intuition that I would get. Okay, then feature standardization. Again, you have to, know the theory, what it is, when it has to be done. Okay, what is the purpose of this particular activity? Okay, then there are tasks. Create a method called predict in given class. MSE. Can anybody tell me what is MSE?
Mean squared error.
Great. What about MAE?
Mean absolute error.
Do you guys understand the difference between the two? I mean, why, in what cases would we choose MSE? In what cases would we use MAE? Impact of both.
No, MSc we know, but MAE I have not. Yeah.
Okay, so why am I telling you all this is, if you are not aware, quickly start making notes. As soon as you understand, look at the task, what has to be done, what not has to, what you cannot quickly do, start writing it. Okay, this is a conceptual thing I have to read upon. Okay, I will have to spend some time, understanding this concept, its purpose. Okay, so that's why I'm asking questions so that you also activate, your thinking in this order. Then we'll come to this, method called d theta 1, d theta 2 update params. Okay, once we start looking at the code that is provided to us. So let's jump there. Okay, so this is the file that is provided to us. Okay, so let's see what have they asked us. There is define encoding categorical variables. It takes input as a data frame, converts it into a NumPy n-dimensional array. Just a quick thing, are you guys aware of, I mean, I'm assuming you guys know what is NumPy and what is pandas. Do you understand the term data frame and ND array? Anyone who's not aware of this? You can use the chat box. If you're not aware, you can just mention no, not aware. It's totally fine. So that
ND array means what? What do you mean? ND array?
It's n-dimensional array. It's NumPy array.
Okay. NumPy array.
Yeah.
Okay.
So see, even if things like this, if you're not aware, just make a note of it, so that you know these are certain things that you should be aware of. Some basic data structures. Okay, so you can dedicate time accordingly. Okay. Okay. So what are they asking us to do is, first task seems relatively easy since you guys already know, the theoretical aspect of this, what is encoding, why it is required. So let's quickly go through the task. So they're asking us create dummy variables for categorical features. Okay. So they have also described for us, what I need to do. I need to make them one-hot encoded. So namely, these columns are mentioned. So now what is mentioned is, for each encoded, you should drop one of the resulting variables to avoid dummy variable trap. I hope you guys understand this. Why are we doing this? So the example that we took here, if I have smoker yes, smoker no, I'll have to definitely drop one of them. Can anybody help me tell me why do I have to drop one of them? What problem could it create if I have both of them? And if, let's say, my model trains on it?
Curse of dimensionality. Too many features.
Too many features. Okay, anybody else who wants to simplify this?
And it's like extra because both of them are doing the same thing. I mean, they both are like we can know the detail of it
In
one.
terms of correlation, would they be correlated or not correlated?
They are correlated
They are,
because
right?
Obviously, if smoker is yes, then the other column would be a no.
Correct. So do we want machine learning model to, learn these correlated features? Is it going to help us or no? No, right?
No.
Okay, so I'm just saying this because everyone should be very clear, why are we doing this? Whatever task they're asking, okay, we should be very clear with each of the steps. When they say this dummy variable trial, if you're not aware, again, quickly go to theory, revise, or study this aspect. Then important thing that asking is resulting array should contain features in following order. So now the order of a data set is also important. Otherwise, the remaining functions execution might have some uh, issues, or the outputs may not be output file would not be replicable. Okay, so this is one thing that we have to take care of. So when you're making notes, make sure this order aspect is also followed. Okay, then they have also shared example rows that should be produced. So this makes sense. So age is itself a continuous uh, feature. BMI is continuous. Children is left as is because it was also a continuous feature. Now male, smoker, region northeast, and so they have been encoded. So I can see here in the example provided. So I know how my data set should look like. Okay, so the first part, uh, how many of you guys think you can easily do it, just by using NumPy and Pandas, this encoding? How would you proceed? Please comment yes in the chat box. I'll simplify. Okay, so Abhinit, this is what I want to know. So once you say you cannot say yet about difficulties, we'll come to that. Others also, I want you to respond. So I what is looking at this particular task, what is going through your mind. I want to know, so that we can, eliminate, whatever difficulties you guys have. I'll simplify it. Only Abhinit is responding. Others, at least let me know, if you
Yeah,
can
sorry.
solve it.
I tried it on the Anaconda simultaneously. Import fire, it says that the module, no module named fire.
So things like this is because you will have to install the package called Fire. You can just do a pip install Fire.
Okay.
So your problem will get solved. But I want to understand logically, just this task. You just click on the first task.
Okay.
So Ramesh, you get the clarity on task. Okay. Okay. But I want to know just about this encoding piece. Okay. Can you guys code this? So let's say data set is given to us. Which are the categorical features like we discussed. You told me uh, this is a categorical feature, this is a categorical feature, this is a categorical feature. You know what is encoding, what has to be done. Okay, you also know that this extra column has to be dropped. Okay, I'm just asking you, can you convert, let's say, this particular column, smoker column, yes, no, into this sort of column in Python? So this is more of a skill test. So Abhinit can do it.
It does, but we have forgotten.
No, so see, it's important. Even if you've forgotten, you have to mention that. So you will have to, you know, maybe you'll have to do some bit of more practice, because this is a very basic task. It's the first task that is there. Things as we proceed, they might ask us to do more complicated things. So the sooner you realize, okay, maybe you have to do a bit of coding practice before you pick up this problem, or maybe you have to refer some notes that you've already created. You have done it in the past, but currently you don't remember the syntax, or the logical flow. So what you do is, I mentioned this task 1. I'm just going to write tab task 1.1, and let's say here
Relearn something.
refer notes, okay, or whatever. If it is some syntax related things, you can mention that, what has to be do. If you think practice, how much time are you going to spend to practice, before you solve this task? Maybe 20 minutes is sufficient. I'll just add 20 there. Okay, why is this important? Because if we don't know, what knowledge we don't have, and how much time do we have, to submit this class. If we don't keep a track of that, we're not able to, it will be difficult for us to crack this, okay, in that time. So I'm assuming that, parallelly also you guys are looking at the same thing on your system, giving it a thought, how would you proceed with it? And I'm also hoping that you guys are also making, such sort of notes. Okay, because since you start doing it, if you do start doing it parallelly, you will have questions. And since I'm here, I'll be able to answer your questions immediately. Okay, rather than, you look at it later and then you ask me later. Okay, so please do this activity parallelly also. Only time when, I'm explaining or asking something, you can quickly switch screens. Okay, but at least start attempting, and so that you'll have more questions, what has to be done, what cannot be done by you at the time. Okay, so Sushant is saying, so this is a very logical thing that he's mentioning. So it can be done using sklearn, because that's how you guys must have learned, right? And he's aware that it can be done using NumPy and Panda. So now, why this is important is, so guys understand, why this recruiter is asking us to do these basic things using NumPy and Pandas. So the first thing, let's say, if I was given such a problem, I would think, this can be easily done using, libraries. Why is this recruiter asking me to spend so much time, creating functions which are already available, readily available? In real world, maybe I'm not going able to use it. That's not the thing. They just want to test, how do you think and do you understand fundamentals very, is your fundamental knowledge really good? They want to test that. Since you know one-hot encoding, implementation wise, you use just a library. So library did all the logical thinking work and, giving you the output. But these particular employers, they want you to have that capability. At least you should know if something goes wrong, if some modification has to be done to this one-hot encoding, would you be able to do this or no? Your package is not going to, do some customizations for you. Only you can do it if you know how to implement. So this is a very simple task. If you break it, it is very easy. So let me just help you with this particular task. So what can be done is, if you look at this particular column, smoker, yes. Okay. One way to solve it, just, are you able to see this, or are you able to read this? You can unmute and say.
Yes, we can. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so one way to dummy encode is, so I have taken this particular feature, smoker. Okay, this smoker feature is there. I'm applying a lambda function to it. And the lambda function, what am I saying is, if x means this particular value of smoker, whatever is called, that's how lambda functions work, right? If that function, if that value of smoker is yes, then return 1, else return 0. That's what we want to do is, and we assign this value, whatever this apply function gives, we want to create into a new column called smoker underscore yes. This is one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is using np.where. Okay, so np.where is also going to give me the same result. I just give smoker data set smoker equal to yes. If it is 2, give me return 1. If not, return 0 and put it to smoker yes. Now you guys might have a third way of solving or a fourth way of solving. Many ways are possible to do this. I'm just showing you two things. And why am I showing you this is because there's another important thing that I want to share with you. Just focus on these 2 lines for now. Okay, so let's say I proceed with the first step. I'm aware of lambda functions. It's easy for me to code. I proceed with this and I, include this as part of my solution. I use this as part of my code. Now, I'm also aware of another technique using np.where to solve this particular task. So let's say if you're not a coder or you do not have adequate experience, you would think, since I already know lambda function is easy for me, let me proceed with this. Let me not try something new like np.where. Okay. But when you're, giving the solution, you also have to think about, the time complexity and the space complexity of problems. So if you guys were to run the first command and you were to see, how much time it takes, for the system to execute this sort of task, compare it to the other technique, other way that we have of solving, the second part is going to be much quicker in terms of execution.
Excuse
Okay.
me.
Yes.
In case this S has a case problem, capital Y and Y, ES,
Yeah.
things like
Correct.
that, then it will create a problem, no? This line.
Yes. Correct. So coming back to this, the first
We can do the upper function.
the first task that I mentioned, whenever you are doing EDA, you'll be analyzing the data, right? How many different levels of smoker is there. If there is just yes, no, if there are two yeses, the thing that you're mentioning, if there is a case problem or no, all that thing will have to be solved beforehand before we proceed to this creating dummy model task. Okay, so we'll be dedicating time for that. So when you do
But
that,
one thing is there, in case of the text problem, if it is not null, we can just use either lower or upper function and achieve the same result.
you can definitely do that. Yes, you can
If
do that.
not null is a more dangerous thing. I mean null things. If there is neither yes nor no, that is a problematic.
Yeah, so exactly. So for those cases, you will have to take care in this particular part. Whenever you're doing EDA, you see if there are some missing values, you will have to add additional steps like imputations. If there are some data transformation, data cleaning activities required, okay. So here you will start mentioning tasks. Okay, there is some data cleaning required. Okay, some data transformations. So you'll start adding that. But since in our case, I had some time. I looked at the data set. Okay, I saw what sort of values are there in each of these columns. I figured that no such cleaning is required for now. Since this is a time limited hiring challenge, that's why we are proceeding to this. But you're absolutely correct. You have to check for that. So that is good thinking. So others can also make a note. I skipped that part because I had assumed that you guys would be doing that eventually. But those are the points that you should definitely mention and check for. Okay, so to simplify, would be data quality checks. Okay, now some could be logical checks also. In the sense, logical checks in our data set would be what? Let's say thing like age. Age should not be a negative value, right? And practically saying age, also any age about, let's say 100 or say 120, whatever is the, whoever is the oldest person in this whole wide world, what was their age? It should not be beyond that. So there are some logical checks also you should apply. Okay, gender should not have, some 4 or 5 values which do not make sense at all. Like there could be some noise in the data set. So things like that you have to definitely take care of. Okay, I'm not emphasizing more on that because the data that we have currently is not, it's pretty clean data. Okay, but you should always obviously make note of that and allocate time accordingly. So now coming back to this, this particular point that I was making is, so the second task, right, it is much quicker than that. You can, check this, how maybe you can just, if you're aware of this particular time it function. Okay, so before you execute this, just put a time it. Okay, and then run this, and you can compare it with the above function, above statement. Okay, and you can see the time difference between the two. Now, why this is important? Because let's say currently the data that you've given, it is pretty small. It's not going to make much of an impact, let's say, because output will be given to you, within a few seconds. Okay, it's not going to make a big impact. But you have to see it as, since the employer is going to look at your code from a very unbiased mind. They're going to see, okay, this is if this person is using np.where he is aware of, things like that, this thing runs much faster. So let's say if I
repeat the syntax for that time.
It is %.
Yeah, can you please type it?
TIMEIT. Time it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, there are other ways also. This is just, I'm just giving an example. You can, use to check, if you know about alternatives, you should just, which is much quicker. Okay, this is just
Yeah.
a tip from my side, because see, in real world you'll be dealing with, huge amount of data. So their optimization, tips would be definitely helpful, and employer will give you brownie points for that, for sure. Okay, so this is just a small thing. Uh, then what we can do is, let us quickly jump back to this. Okay, so things like that you'll be able to solve. Then obviously you also have to, drop the additional columns if you have created. In our case, we did not create, we directly created sex underscore males, smoker underscore yes, region underscore naughty, so and so. Okay, so my variables were already prepared. But now what I have to do is, since I already have a smoker column and I've created smoker underscore yes, and they're mentioned, clearly they're mentioned, resulting array should contain features in following order. Means they need only these features, so I'll have to drop the smoker column also. So these are very small things, we kind of lose track of, since we have less amount of time, to solve things. And what will happen is, you will forget to drop the smoker column. Whenever you submit, you will start facing errors and you start scratching your head. Why am I getting this weird error? I did everything right. Okay, so let's go step by step. There is a big problem. Just break it into really small problems. Okay, and solve it step by step. So the first step is done. Categorical encoding of categorical variables. Now let me see, since this was clear, let me see, why are they asking these other tasks? Okay, what is the purpose of solving these other tasks? So I see standardized features is one thing that they want me to do. So I see class linear regression with gradient update. So now it is very clear to me, okay, this coding activity that has to be done, it is required for linear regression. So the first thing that I will add here is linear regression. Okay, this is something that it's a topic that I'll have to know for sure, because the whole class is defined for linear regression, and then within that class there are methods. Okay, so these methods are typed. There is a predict method, MAC, the static method, MA is given, theta1, theta2. So none of these methods would make sense unless I know what is this term called linear regression. Okay, so coming back to you guys, I'm assuming all of you guys know about this linear regression. Can you guys confirm if you guys are aware of linear regression? Maybe use the chat box, please. So Ramesh is aware, Rohit is aware. Great.
Converting something in a pattern like y is equal to mx plus c type of situation.
Converting something into y is equal to mx plus c. That is not exactly the linear regression problem, but you're right, partially right. See, for me, currently we are not going to the theoretical aspect. You are the ones who should be very confident about the uh, concept. Okay, what is linear regression? Your understanding as we proceed with this, you yourself will realize, how much more knowledge is required. Why why I mean, why more, theoretical knowledge, or gaining this knowledge would be essential for me to try to understand why these particular methods are required for me to code. Okay, so understand, you guys have heard. Okay, so Chandra, you will have to read a bit of theory. Abdul, you too, so that things like MAC, this predict method, uh, things like theta1, theta2, what do we have to code? If you don't know, what are we coding for, obviously you're not going to be able to code this at all. Okay, so this particular step is a big fail till you guys are comfortable with linear regression. You know the theory well, and when I say well, you know it in and out. Okay, all the assumptions related to linear regression, how it works. Then another thing that is mentioned here is linear regression with gradient update. Okay, so that particular aspect also should be familiar with you. Okay, so before we jump on to this, there was another thing that we saw in the code, something called standardized features. Okay, uh, here I think there is a typo. It's standardized, it should be standardized. So now tell me, do you guys understand what is standardized features? Can anybody help me? What do you mean by standardization?
No, forgot.
No, we don't know. We don't know.
Forgot.
Okay,
I
okay.
don't know.
Okay. So what do we do?
Yeah,
Yes, yes. Yes, please.
yeah, Niket, we generally try to convert the features, the values of a column which are in different scale. Like one is in 1000 mm and the other one is like in kilometers.
Perfect.
So we try to bring it in one scale.
So here, can you tell me which columns require the standardization?
BMI and charges.
Others? What about age, children?
Children not necessarily, but age yes.
Yeah, yes.
So when we're using the term standardization, okay?
Yeah, we have to look for either right skewed or left skewed, and based on that, I think we have to try to normalize the data, bring it to the center within the 25 to 75 percentile.
Okay.
Yeah, between 0 and 1, I think we can convert these values.
And why would we do that? Why is there a need to do this standardization?
Because the result
mainly
might be
regression. Sushant, regression for regression, we require the features to be normally distributed.
One of the reason of standardizing is that, for example, children, the range of variables is from 0 to maximum 5 or 6. In charges, the range is from 0 to probably around 50,000, 60,000. So this variation is too much and it should not affect the correlation. That is why we want to bring all within the range of 0 to 1. For example, reducing everything to a logarithmic scale.
Okay. So this is
the weights assigned to the columns will be different.
I'm sorry. I'm just, the main intuition that I want to do is, even if you guys are aware of certain topics, okay, you know why it has to be done. I'll give you a blunt feedback. Whenever you're trying to solve this, right, also parallelly keep the theoretical aspect from wherever you've studied, your reference material notes side by side. Okay, because things like why do we need to standardize for this particular hiring problem, you maybe need not spend much time. Okay, if you know how to standardize what has to be done, that is good for, it is an easy kill for you all. Okay, you can quickly solve this task. But for later, if you think, okay, maybe I lack some knowledge, maybe the output that I'm producing has some issues, or if you want to be very sure that whatever you're doing, someone mentioned that maybe you want to bring it into a scale between 0 to 1, that is required. Why is that required? That should be also very clear. Okay, because what will happen is, once you submit this, okay, whatever code you've submitted, let's say here you code it up, you just bring it into a scale of 0 to 1, or maybe you bring it into a logarithmic scale. Okay, maybe you just scale everything down, maybe you just subtract something by some particular number or so, whatever logic you apply. What will happen is, the recruiter, when you will be called for a face-to-face interview, let's say your code gets through, they are going to ask you, okay, why did you do this? Maybe they know that what you've done is not exactly correct. Okay, they'll ask you, why did you do this? And there, if there is some theoretical understanding gap between you and the employer, obviously I'm assuming the employer knows the concept very well, then you're going to have a hard time explaining, because you yourself are confident that what I know is correct and there is nothing else left for me to discover or understand in terms of application. You will not even realize where did you go wrong.
Yeah, can I please ask you once again that the explanation which I gave you is that reducing to logarithmic scale so that the correlation should not affect. Is my understanding correct? This is what I asked.
See, correlation is not the only thing. Okay, why do we want to scale is, you have to come back to this part, linear regression. Okay, every data transformation that we're doing, okay, it is related to our model. Okay, if you understand how linear regression works, okay, so a very basic intuitive way to for me to tell you guys is, let's say age is there, okay, age is in a range of, let's say I have age something from 1 to 100. Okay, now I have charges could be, let's say, from 1 to 2 lakhs or so. So linear regression, okay, there is an equation attached to it, right? Can anybody help me with the equation? What is the equation? Very basic equation.
Yeah, y is equal to mx plus c.
Okay, so
X
okay,
are the independent variables and y being the dependent variable.
okay, right? So we do that. And are you guys, so we have that equation. So are you guys aware of something called the error term when we're dealing with linear regression, whenever it tries to find the best fitting line?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, so whenever, we have that error term, or whenever we are trying to find the best fitting line, okay, since I have different variables, so every variable, if you guys are aware of the concept, uh, we are trying to take partial derivatives of each, right? So partial derivatives, if you know the concept, what we'll try to do is, it will try to see for every change in the input function input variable that I'm giving, how is my function changing? Okay, so here what would happen is, if let's say my age changes from 46 to 47, okay, it changes by certain amount. Let's say here it changes by 1. Okay, now my charges, if it changes by 1, so 9193 changes by 9194. So the changes that are happening between the two are not in the same scale. Okay, so what will happen is, I will try to, let's say age, when I'm trying to get one optimal line for age, here I have to change only by, let's say, by 1. Here maybe 1 is not sufficient for me to see same amount of change in charges. Okay, so what will happen is, my model is not going to be able to uh, give proper weightage to both the variables. It will be more skewed towards one of the variables. Okay, so things like this, if fundamentally, if you're very much aware, why this standardization is required for linear regression, you are good to go, because when you reach the interview rounds, right, you'll be able to defend all your solutions and answers. Because let's say coding wise, maybe if you refer Stack Overflow, you take uh, help from your mentors, from your friends, you'll be able to both solve this coding aspect of it, because they'll be aware of things and they'll be able to help you out. Okay, but for your own understanding, it is important, each step now has to be related to linear regression, and conceptually it should be clear, so that coding wise also it will be very easy for you to code. Okay, what am I trying to do? So just another thing, so here in this case, what we're trying to do is subtracting it from mean and dividing it by standard deviation. Okay, very basic standardization technique. Okay, so things like that you can code up. So this is just what I'm trying to say is, if you're given a task related to the main task that you're trying to solve, okay, main task here is linear regression with gradient update, you have to write methods for that. Okay, this particular file is going to go as the input. As long as all of us are aligned to the initial steps that we have to follow, rest of the steps is not going to be a difficult task for us. Okay, so why did we spend so much time talking just about EDA problem statement, task 1, task 2, because these are relatively simple to the rest of the task, because your linear regression comes to the picture, things inside linear regression, how it works, what has to be done comes. So even if you guys do not have adequate time, you do not have any enough experience to solve these kind of problems, at least what you know so far, what you have done so far, if it is very clear, okay, you understand the problem well, whatever you know, you have done well, maybe depending on how the other applicants have performed, maybe the employer will understand, okay, at least fundamentals about the standardized features, encoding variables, and so is very clear, and whatever code you have written so far is very good and it is usable. Maybe I can give this person a shot. maybe if we train this person a bit on the ML aspect of it, this person would be a good fit. Okay, so that's why do not just give up by looking these hiring challenges, because just think about this. There are others also like you who are attempting these kind of challenges, and they'll give up midway. They'll just see, "Arey, itna difficult task hai, I'm not going to be able to do it in 2 days. I don't understand things." Especially they have asked me to write things in pandas and numpy. Let me just quit. Okay. So what in reality what will happen is this hiring challenge for this hiring challenge, let's say 100 applicants are applied. All 100 applicants know what is linear regression so and so. Assuming that, I'm pretty sure at least 30 to 40% would drop off just by looking at the template of the code because they think it is too difficult. Okay, it might have happened to some of you guys also. You must have thought that it is difficult. ये तो मुझे आता भी नहीं अब तक. How am I going to solve this? Easiest thing to do is breaking it into small parts and at least mark what you can solve. Okay, there are 7 tasks. You need not solve all of them. Maybe you can solve this. You can solve this. In here, maybe you can solve some of these things. Okay, but I'm pretty sure once you solve these 2 things and you know what is this particular part, all of this is going to be piece of cake. Okay, so let me just take Abhineet is saying including me. So Abhineet, that is absolutely correct. So to be honest, from my own experience, I have faced a similar hiring challenge. Okay, the template is also not given, to be honest. They had just given this particular part, the function call part. The main function was given and the data set was given, and rest everything was left for me to code. And at that point of time, I did not know, and not only me, my all my batchmates also were not we were not able to code in such a way because the amount of time that we had spent uh, in in our academics was to understand these ML concepts well. So theoretically we knew things, okay, but when it came to the coding aspect, I was not so proficient at writing such good codes in Python. So that whatever the the employer had asked for, that could be met. But the learning for me was what I did post that hiring challenge was I spent a lot of time coding. So concepts like decorators, these methods, functions, how to call them, optimize things. I spent good amount of time on HackerEarth and HackerRank, to improve my coding skills. Then, for subsequent challenges, I was at least able to, give it a try. So it is absolutely fine. So maybe I had mentioned in a previous session also, even if in this hiring challenge, if you think, okay, it is very difficult, you will not be able to do it, give it a shot. Okay, there is a probability that the employer might still give you a call because they understand that this thing is difficult. They'll know by looking at your resume that what is your prior experience, how much time have you dedicated in academics related to machine learning and data science. Still you're able to solve a few things. So at least give it a shot. Maybe not this particular challenge, but after let's say 2-3 attempts, you guys will have gained enough confidence to crack hiring challenges very easily. Then it is just going to be the interview runs and the discussions round for you all.
Hey Niket.
Yes, Vijay.
Yeah, I would just like to launch a short poll. I'll take just 30 seconds or 40 seconds, not more.
Sure. Dhananjay, I'll just answer your question once your poll is ending.
Guys, the poll is on your screen. Just a couple of questions. I would like everyone to take it, please. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Niket. You can continue.
Okay. So everyone, Dhananjay is asking a very genuine question. Do these kind of challenges have to be completed in 1 or 2 hours or few hours there and there? So let me give you a very, a big reality check. Yes, it does happen. But then also there is a very big disclaimer that not every time. So there are definitely organizations who require, the kind of guys to solve these kind of problems within a couple of hours, maybe in half a day or so. Maybe you have to log into their portal itself and solve it, without even googling things. Yes, they do have these kind of challenges, but not everyone. But what you should focus on right now is, uh, currently in our case, we are fortunate enough that we have 48 hours to submit. Okay, so we should make the most of this particular activity
The
as a learning
presentation which you are
activity.
using, we don't have a copy of that. You said you have shown the presentation, which has 48 hours. I think this we are not able to see in the folder.
Uh, it's fine. I mean, we can share it with you.
Can you please, yeah, please share it so that we also are on the same page.
Sure. Okay, so but the good thing about this is, let's say even if let's say even if this task was to be solved, let's say in 3 hours or 4 hours, okay, at least if you attempt it once, okay, the whole cycle end to end, let's say you take 2 days, let's say you can even take a week, depending how much you know. But what will happen is, the next time if anything similar is thrown to you, you will be able to solve it much quicker. Let's say you'll reduce your time by 80% or so, because you've already attempted things and you've learned a lot in this particular hiring challenge. So personally, what I do is, if they allow uh, you know uh, pen and paper to carry with us for certain things, I first thing that I do is, whichever questions are presented, things I don't know, I'm hearing for the first time, I just make a note of that thing on a piece of paper, and I take it back home and then I study about it. Okay, because the learnings that you have from there, you will understand that this organization requires these kind of skills. There are people in the industry who know these kind of things. I am so many steps behind, and I have to put in additional effort to reach there. Okay, so take things very positively, constructively. So even if they ask you to solve it in 2 hours and you think कि नहीं हो सकता मेरे से 2 घंटे में, at least give it a shot and make notes. Okay, how can you improve and where can you improve to solve these kind of things in 2 hours. What will happen is, another company similar kind of things, and they'll give you 6 hours. Since you already have experience of solving it in 2 hours or less, you're going to be easily able to crack the next hiring challenges. So this particular one is also not a very easy one. It is a moderate difficulty level hiring challenge. So if you guys are able to get through this, solve it with 100% dedication and effort, I can guarantee that other challenges would be relatively easy. You guys, all of you all will be able to solve it. Okay, because what are the key takeaways that you'll be able to take from this hiring challenges? You'll know how to break down your problem statement. You know what kind of questions to be asked, how to look at the data set, how do we allocate time accordingly to that sort of task, how much you know, how much you don't know. Finally, if you are already through all this, you'll also have additional time to add some more comments to maybe make your code more neat, to verify, cross check a few things before the submission comes, so submission deadline comes. Okay, so now let's jump back to this. So we saw at a high level what all is required. So linear regression theories, the key aspect for us to know, understand, because the rest of the methods are dependent on it. So let me see, what do we have next? Okay, so can you guys tell me why this method predict is required? What would the predict method do? Can anyone please unmute and tell?
If some dependent variables are given, then some independent variables are given, then we can find out the dependent variable.
Yeah, so in our case, the variables. Can you tell me what is a dependent variable and what are independent variables?
For example, if you want to find out the charges
is what they've asked us.
Yeah, we want to predict how much charges is there. And if we give a set of data of age, sex, BMI, children and smoker, it should give us some feedback that okay, this will be approximate charges for this person or estimated charges.
Perfect.
That is a prediction.
Perfect. So this predict part is very clear, right? So what will happen is, since you know what this prediction does, you know very well what I have to write in this particular predict method. Okay, so the first part, the difficult part you have solved. You know why do we need to predict. Okay, तो अभी predict करेंगे कैसे? That should be the second question. So how do we predict? We are going to use linear regression, right?
Yeah.
So now what this particular method is asking me, df.predict. So I'll have to see, where it is being called. So there, look at the main data set. Data set is red. There is a y true, that is data charges. I hope you guys understand this. Why is this given like this, right? If not, you can just make a note so that you spend time, why is this particular line given like this? Because this is our dependent variable.
Yeah.
Okay. Now there are some calls to the class. Class is created. Encode categorical variables that we've covered. Standardized features covered. Now linear regression model.fit. Standardized features is passed. Okay, and this linear regression model object that we've created, everything that is required we need with that. Okay, so ypred is here, theta2 is given to us, is required for us. Update parameters. And MSE. Okay. So what we'll do is, here what we want to do, we just have to return, okay, what the model would predict. So here in the task, if you read, so it's really mentioned to us that linear regression step, X is the matrix, okay, where rows correspond to individual observations fallen to the features, so and so. Please note the class has two members, model parameters theta1 and theta2 to be using linear regression equation y is equal to x theta1 plus theta2. Now I think somebody had already mentioned y is equal to mx plus c. So can you tell me what is this theta1 and theta2 corresponding to that?
Theta1 is the slope.
Theta1 is a slope, perfect. And theta2?
Yeah. Is a constant.
Constant, okay. So these are the two, and why and what happens in linear regression? Can anybody quickly explain why these theta1 and theta2 are important?
So assume that there is no theta1, then it assumes that the predicted variable starts from the base case, which is a theta2.
Okay.
And then it keeps on adding it depending on the value of theta1, either high or low, depending on that.
Okay, great. So what we'll do is, step by step, okay, this df.predict, the predict function that we have, you know what to return, right? Basically, you just have to return this particular equation, right?
Yeah, correct.
Theta1 and theta2 is something. Other methods are
calculated
for that. Okay, so we'll jump to that. So now I have methods that I have to write for theta1 and theta2. So
yes.
the good thing about this is the way theta1 and theta2 code would be written, it would be quite similar, right? Because both are just thetas.
Yeah.
Just that they're different. So we are writing theta1 and theta2, but the code that you would write would be similar. Okay. So now, if you just read the task, lucky for us, again, the theoretical part of it they have mentioned. You have to calculate partial derivative of the MSE function with respect to theta1. Okay. So now, since we have to calculate partial derivative of MSE function, I have to look at the MSE loss function. Okay. Since you guys are already aware, how linear regression works step by step. Okay. Tracing like this, the way we are doing right now, you might trace it in a different way. You might quickly say, okay, first I am going to start off by, calculating the MSE. I'm going to start by writing the loss function. Okay. Then I'm going to, start writing code for my thetas. I mean, where I'm going to, calculate the partial derivatives. And then maybe I'm going to write the MAE function. And then I'll start off writing the update parameters. And then maybe finally the fit function. So whatever logical flow, how you guys understand linear regression, you can, start writing code in that syntax. It's not necessary that you follow, sequentially how the functions are given. Okay, maybe at times, because it's irrelevant, right? If a function is placed one before the other, right? If I place fit before update params, also it's not going to make much of a difference.
But logically, what should we follow?
Logically, the way you understand linear regression, okay, your understanding. So let's say if how you should start off is ignore this template for now. Ignore this template for now.
Yeah.
Okay, what you should do is you should write the pseudocode for linear regression that is there in your head. So let's say I'm given a data set. If I were to write my own linear regression algorithm, okay, how would I proceed with? So you start writing the steps. So first 2 steps of data transformation part, let's say you have covered. Okay, whatever input goes to the model.
For example, For example, in my mind, it is coming something like this. If I have to write a linear regression, it will be y, which is charges, is equal to m into bracket x means age. Then second m into bracket x will be substituted by, let's say, sex, male or female, and then accordingly.
Okay, but then that is not just age. I mean, you will just solve it for one row, right? That is just whatever values you put. Okay, so let's come back what you mentioned, right? So what will happen? What you're saying is y is equal to mx plus c.
Now, first x is age, then second x will be, let's say, x, and like that. So I write complete equation.
So what you will do is that complete equation will just give you a line. It will just give you one line, right? This is equation of a line.
Yeah, correct.
It will just give you one line that passes through these points, whatever x value you provide.
Yeah.
Okay. But that is not linear regression. That is just an equation of a line. Linear regression is to find the best fitting line through all these data points.
Yeah. Right? So m, the value of m, we need to find out, right?
You would need m also. You need c also, right?
Yeah, m and c will not be possible to get through a row.
Correct.
So for that, I need a full column to be analyzed.
Perfect. So that's the problem linear regression is solving for us. Okay, so that particular thing, the pseudocode, the stepwise thing, how are you going to solve it? It's very clear in your head that you want to solve it for the all the columns. You know how you want to work row wise. You want to solve for all the columns. Same thing. You just write it down. Whatever is there in your head, you write down step by step. How are you going to solve it? Okay. So you must have listed steps detail wise, and when you're listing steps, you'll also think how are you going to implement it in Python. Okay. Then what will happen is, in your mind, you must have created a map. Okay, this is how I'm going to solve. Then quickly, what do you see? You look at the function that these guys have created. It will be very much in sync with what you have thought of. Okay, whatever steps you mentioned.
Okay.
These all functions would be some steps.
I think it will be easy to do it with only one variable and then complicate it.
Since you are just thinking right now and you're not attempted, these thoughts are coming. But when you start attempting, right, you will have a lot more questions. Yeah, I assure you of that.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So best thing is start attempting. You will have a lot more questions and you will have so many more questions about linear regression. Okay, and it is going to be a very fun activity for you guys, trust me. Okay, then when you start actually thought process wise, okay, you've thought a lot, you have many questions, those questions got answered. When you start implementing, right, that is also going to be very much fun. Okay, and the satisfaction that you guys will get after solving this hiring challenge, it is going to be really good, trust me. So that is how you should proceed by solving for these things. Okay, so all these things will make sense once you start writing your own pseudocode for linear regression. All the functions will make sense, what input has to go, how do we update. So now just from my personal learning, what tip I would want to give you guys is, when you're studying linear regression, first thing what you should do is keep the whatever resource that you've used for understanding linear regression very handy, because these formulas are going to help you, to write the code. Because where you're coding, if you have referred to some, white paper or, some document from where you have learned linear regression, it is going to help you to code, because some guys have already done the research work and simplified things for you to, just quickly pick it up and code it. So this is one thing. Now, other thing is, when it comes to conceptual theoretical understanding, okay, so for me personally, what used to happen was, even though I'm an engineer, I have cleared, complicated math papers and all, but the base fundamental understanding of derivatives was not very clear in my mind. Okay, I forgot a few things, and so what would happen is, understanding these equations and, to write code for those derivatives was very difficult for me. So what I had to do is, I had to go back and revise all my concepts of derivatives. So for you guys also, if you want to, brush up on those skills, if you're not aware, what a partial derivative is, what it does, why linear regression uses it, so and so. So I would recommend you guys, to visit, refer some source, like I had referred Khan Academy. So this particular calculus course that was there. So even after completing engineering, when I started studying data science, I went through a lot of my 10 to 12 standard syllabus. Okay, that was there, my some engineering syllabus that was there, and I restudied it, on Khan Academy. So a lot more things were very clear. So things like calculus, linear algebra was much more clear to me, after, referring this course on Khan Academy. So things like partial derivatives and all, if it's not clear, you can take this course. It's very informative, and how linear regression works, it will make more sense, if everything is very clear. I mean, this is just my own experience. I was struggling with it, so I had to refer, these kind of sources, because back then I did not, pay much attention to my mathematics. So that's one thing. I'm pretty sure there must be at least one person who must be thinking the same thing. Okay, I don't know what is a partial derivative. That is required only because, you want to do this theta1 update params method and all. So we have already, this is just to, summarize a few things. So what we learned from this hiring challenges, there's no sklearn. We have to, just use NumPy pandas. Okay. Why are they asking us to write this is, see what was happening so far in this course is, and to be honest, I have interviewed quite a few candidates. Okay, and based on my experience, I've trained also a lot of aspiring data science professionals. So I'll tell you what happens is, why these guys fail to, crack any sort of interview, the hiring challenge. Everybody thinks, okay, what is data science? I know what is linear regression. For example, I know the theory. I know how to predict using linear regression. But the way you know how to predict is, you only know how to, let's say, call some sklearn function. Okay. Organizations do not want somebody who just knows how to implement organization function. They are not going to hire you for that, right? Just think about it. If you were able to learn this applying, predict function within a couple of hours or within a couple of days, or let's say within 1 week, others can also too, right? The effort that you guys have to additionally put in is to see step by step how it is actually built, and if you were to build it or bring some modifications to that algorithm, how would you do it? So that's why your theoretical understanding has to be very much in depth. Even though conceptually linear regression is very basic, it was very easy for you to understand.
Yeah.
But
Hello.
Yes.
Sorry, one question now, because of the way you are explaining it to you. I tried it to do it in the similar way. I tried it through Python, some of the things, and also tried it via sklearn or some R science related things. It gives two different results, and that confuses us even more. For example, assume that we solve this problem with Python basics.
Yeah.
Without sklearn or anything, and then we again go solve the same problem via sklearn. Now my prediction should not be different.
No, so this is
That is causing us a lot of confusion for us
No,
to
no.
really to have a grip on the subject.
No. So I'll tell you, I'll share some more info with you. So what happens is the way these packages that you use, the way these packages are implemented, okay, they are different for different programming languages also. Okay, so the sklearn package, you will have to see, how this sklearn package is implemented, and also when it comes to machine learning models, there is a concept of picking random seeds, random starting point. How each model has been implemented. So where does that model start off? Okay, so it is different because since what happens is behind the scene, somebody has written a code for this, right? It's not like a package is a standardized thing that everybody in the world has to follow the same exact thing of implementing. So personally, also for me, what happens is, let's say if I'm using an XGBoost model that is being written in R, and if I use the same parameters and if I rerun the same model in Python, I get different results because that's how things work.
But then that doesn't justify the scientific process. That it means somewhere we are making mistakes. Either we should know both have the same assumptions.
No, it is.
Or we should know where the assumptions are different.
It is not exactly like that. So this is more of a tech issue. So I understand your concern. So, but what happens is when you test your results, right? So your output will not be, let's say in case of classification. Let me not give regression because regression would not be a good
classification. I tried in classification.
Yeah, so classification only. I'll tell you something. So what will happen is, let's say your evaluation metric, for example, it is accuracy. Okay, let's say accuracy if it is your metric. So when you're training your model, right, you obviously test it on multiple sets. Okay, you would have done an out of time validation, so and so. Then what the final output that you get, right? So let's say your model is giving you, let's say accuracy of, let's say it is giving you accuracy of 56%. So there is some error margin also which is considered. So let's say plus minus 5% of that 56% accuracy that I'm getting. So that much is fine. So little bit of deviation, from that value that I predicted is acceptable, because there are some implementation challenges also that are there. Some data related assumptions also that we proceed with.
Yeah, but I tried the problem even one step below the classification, that is clustering. So after dendrogram, when we do create a clustering, up to that almost everything is very similar in concept and formulas also.
No, so since you're using a package, you will have to deep dive into the package itself, how it is implemented and how you have implemented. There will be definitely some different steps, how the data is transformed, modified. Okay, if there is some random seed that is being used, how, let's say if you start off by assuming something from 0, starting from 1, the function itself would be starting from something else. So there are some technical challenges, and just to answer to your question, so things like this happen, and we can definitely discuss this off topic, because right now we aim to complete this hiring challenge, and the question you're asking is very legit.
Okay, I think let us take it off the topic. I mean, so that we can talk it
because
separate.
Vijay can definitely arrange some session, or
I think that will be very good. I think this session is really needed. One session exclusively dedicated for this type of thing. Shortcuts and ready-made packages. Basically, how to figure out optimizing that thing.
Sure.
Or tuning that.
I think we've got like 5 more minutes, Niket.
Yes. So I'll just we'll keep that question aside and let me just wrap it up. Okay. So objectives of the assignment, since we already went through. So what they wanted to check is programming logic, like I explained in detail. How do we build it if our understanding is very clear? If we know, how functions work, how classes work, how the methods that we're using, how they would be called and used. Okay, so why are they testing? That is also clear. They want to test our ML understanding, specifically regression in this case. They want to see if we understand loss functions in Python. Okay, logic behind regression, so that since we are building it from scratch, it will be very clear to the employer that we know the topic really well. Okay, the strategy also we have discussed. I've shared a detailed strategy with you guys. Mention, spend some time to understand the problem statement and the data set itself. Okay. Then task wise, we should pick up each task and understand the concept. If we are unsure, spend some more time on that. Note down the formula and code. I asked you to, refer your notes or, from where you studied, so that just pick up the formulas and start writing the code for that. And if you are able to do everything, all of these things in time, you should, dedicate some time to verify a code also. We check with some basic values, so that you don't make any you don't make any silly mistakes, when it comes to calculation. You think that a function works in a particular way, and you do not even bother to check the outputs and results to validate it manually. It could land you in trouble. Okay, so it's a good practice for you to verify your code, with some basic values, uh, and conclude that. And what happens in hiring challenges? In our case, currently, we were shared an Excel file. We were very fortunate uh, to have this in an Excel file. Ideally, no organization would practically, store data set in Excel files. They'll obviously have it in databases, or maybe there would be some flat files. So text files are also present. So flat files with some delimiters would be given to you. So why is this mentioned? Is you should know how to, load different kind of uh, data files in your environment. Okay, import different types of data files. You should know how to load a JSON file, for example, into Python environment, put it into a data frame, or maybe convert it to dictionary, into, different data structures in Python that you're aware of. You should know how to connect to different databases if required. Okay, so all these things, they just have some connectors. It's not a very difficult task. If you just Google a bit, right, how to connect to SQL from Python, or to Redshift through Python, there are some packages available through some connectors. For practice, maybe you can definitely try it. Okay, some time series databases could be shared. Search engine DB could be shared, something like Elasticsearch. Okay, so it depends, what kind of organization you are applying for. They'll have some uh, different way of storing data. So if you know that you have applied for an organization which uses Elasticsearch, beforehand you can, just Google and see, how do we connect to Elasticsearch DB, and extract data, or maybe pull data from uh, SQL, so and so. Okay, so this is just a thing that do not prepare yourself only for, Excel or CSV files or XLS files. It's always a good practice, whatever organization you're applying for. Just at a precaution, make sure you know these things, because what will happen is they'll give hiring challenge is very easy, but you don't even know how to pull the data from the database. Okay, that is going to be a very embarrassing uh, point for you, right? So uh, just to close this, so uh, even if you're not aware, if you're not prepared for this challenge, okay, it's totally fine. Do not give up. At least attempt. What this is something what would I say. Okay, like I mentioned, you should note down, what are your drawbacks, what you don't know, what you couldn't solve in time. Like I mentioned, that I used to write it on a piece of paper and then go home and study for the next organization. Then this is the most important thing. Okay, machine learning comes from human learning, right? We fail at something, we learn, and we improve the next time. That's what machine learning is, right? So we do not have to forget that. We'll fail, we want to reduce the errors. Okay, just like linear regression tries to reduce the errors, we want to do it with ourselves also. First time you fail, it's okay. Second time you'll improve. Third time you'll become even better. Okay, so do not. I've seen, and why am I focusing on this is, a lot of guys I've seen personally, they give up. They see a lot. They'll see something, some template like this is shared. They're like, "Arey, ye meri bas ki baat nahi hai," and they'll give up. Do not do that. Okay, I have seen a commerce graduate also crack very difficult hiring challenges. Okay, and that was just hard work and dedication. And this is a stat that Gratum has observed. Okay, because observing so many candidates, asking other mentors also. So it takes around 4 interviews, to crack one successfully. And this is a tip. Basically, you should have your expectations very clear, from your job role, from the organization. I think we emphasized a lot on this last time. So that's there, guys, from my side. I hope I was able to, give you some valuable insights and tips, how, to tackle this kind of hiring challenge. I hope you guys uh, take a attempt this particular problem statement and give your maximum to solve it in time. Even if you don't solve it, there is going to be tremendous amount of learning.
Thanks, Niket. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Niket, for the wonderful session. Guys, whatever doubts you have, you can just put it on Slack, okay? Niket, if I can add you on Slack, right?
Sure, Vijay, you can definitely do that.
Yeah, hello. I had one doubt regarding this only hiring challenge.
Yeah.
So actually, I had given a hiring challenge some 1-2 months back. So actually, there was no restriction of using sklearn. So we were able to use it, but actually they required full-time implementation using Flask. So what would be the ideal time to learn Flask? Should we learn simultaneously or should we learn it after we complete everything with ML?
I basic thing what I would say is you can obviously start learning simultaneously, but depends how much time you have and how much context switching will be required for you and if you'll be okay with it. Because see, for me daily, if let's say I'm working and I'm dedicatedly, upscaling myself every day, half an hour for one topic, I cannot add another half an hour and learn some other topic altogether. It becomes difficult for me. But if you are okay with it, you can start parallelly also. There's no stopping. It's obviously a good thing if you, simultaneously start learning something if you have the time.
Okay, great.
It's up to you. I mean, how do you manage your time?
Yeah.
But then make sure whatever time you're investing in, it is something that you really want to do. If you think that, okay, this organization or this job role I want to apply for, they require Flask, so I'm going to learn Flask and my time is going to be well worth it, then only do it. Just don't do because one organization asks Flask, so it's everybody requires Flask. Somebody requires for me to have computer vision knowledge, so everybody requires that. Don't make that mistake. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, guys, and we'll make sure that we keep more such sessions. In such kind of sessions will help you when it comes to hiring challenges, interviews. So we'll make sure that more such sessions happen, and I'll share the deck and the recording with you in the coming week. Thank you for joining on a Sunday. Thanks, Niket. Thanks for the
Thanks everyone. Thank
I'm leaving the session now.
Yeah, me too.
Guys, please don't forget to fill the feedback.